Hi you guys. I have shared with you before how much I love the serger. However, for many years, I only used the serger to finish off the raw edges of my garments. Up until last year, I had never sewn a full garment with a serger. I am finding out how versatile and functional the serger really is and how many more things you can do with it than just finishing off the raw edges of your garments. Baby Lock has come out with a 6-foot serger kit for the Vibrant Serger. Now I have shared with you the different functions for the Vibrant, and today I want to show you the 6-foot kit and give you a demonstration of how these feet work and how much you can accomplish and how many projects you can create using this kit. Now this is the box that it comes in, and these are the feet. They have their own home. Every foot has its own little position inside the box. Now it comes with a little pamphlet that gives you a description of all of the different feet, and it tells you what they're used for, and it also has pictures of the feet so that when you go to your kit to choose a foot, then you will know what it looks like. Now this is an optional set. It does not come with the Vibrant, but you can purchase it as an additional accessory kit for your Vibrant Serger. And I will link in the description box below to the Baby Lock site where you can look for a dealer in your area so that you can purchase a kit for yourself. So if you're ready to see a demonstration of these feet, let's get started. Okay, the first foot I want to show you is the elastic foot, and this one takes care of all the work for you when applying elastic to your projects. Now, this is a roller, and this is the part that feeds the elastic through the foot. And this little knob is the tension guide, and when you turn it to the right, it increases the tension, which makes this foot press harder against the elastic, stretching the elastic more. And then when you loosen it to the left, it releases the tension, giving you less of a gather as you're, or less pressure as you're applying your elastic. So the way it works is you take your elastic, and I have 1/4 inch elastic here. This area here will fit up to 1/2 inch elastic. However, you can use wider elastic. You will just have to keep in mind that the tension will only be applied up to 1/2 inch of the elastic. So what you do is you lift this foot or the roller and insert the elastic. Then you're going to pull the elastic past the back edge of the foot. And I'm going to tighten it down to keep it in place while we attach it to the sewing machine or to the serger. So let's lift the presser foot, and then we're going to release the foot and attach the elastic foot, making sure that the elastic is under the foot. And there we have it. Now I'm going to attach the elastic to this strip of fabric from the back. So with my elastic already inserted into the foot, I'm going to insert it under the foot, lifting the presser foot. Push that guide over a little bit. And then what we want to make sure of is that the elastic is extended in the back, and that in this window, open window, you see that the needles are going to catch the elastic. Okay, so make sure you're pulling the elastic over to the right, and in this area you want to make sure that your elastic is all the way over to the right. So I'm going to tighten the pressure a little bit more, and then I'm going to lower the presser foot and begin sewing. And what's going to happen is the cutting blade is going to cut off the raw edge and attach the elastic at the same time. And to get started, I'm going to pull on the back of the elastic just to get it started so that there isn't any bunching in the beginning, and I'm going to hold on to the front. I'm not pulling the front of the elastic because the roller will feed the elastic through. Okay, I'm going to let go of the back and just continue to hold on to this elastic, keeping it over to the right. Okay, so I've sewn a few stitches. Now I'm going to tighten it down more so that you can see how much or how tight we can go. I'm going to press it all the way down or turn it all the way down and allow the elastic to stretch even more. Okay, and I'm going to move this out of the way so that it doesn't get caught up in the stitches. Okay. And now I'm going to loosen the tension again so that you can see the difference when we look at this after it's done. Okay. And one more time, I'm going to tighten it down. I just want to give you, let you see how it looks with a variety of different tensions. Okay. I'm going to clip off, I'm going to cut off the elastic. And here we have it from the back. And then here on the front, you see when we first started, it was gathered rather tight. So when we pull, that's what we get. And then further down, this is where I loosened the tension, so you can see there's less gathering. And then I tightened it again in this area for more gathering. And that's what it looks like. This is awesome for attaching elastic to your projects. This is the Ruffling Foot, and this one helps to create perfectly spaced gathering to your sewing projects. You will see on the bottom of the foot, it has this flexible metal tongue, and this tongue presses against the fabric, applying pressure, and helps to create the gathers. Now, to set up your machine, you're going to set your upper and lower looper tensions at 4. Your stitch length will be set to 4. The differential feed will be set to 2, and then we will attach the gathering foot. Now, first you will release the regular foot, and then you will notice that the gathering foot doesn't just slide in under this little metal flap, and that's because of this flexible tongue underneath. So what we will do is press down on the foot and then slide it over to the right to attach it. Okay, and there we have it attached. Next, we're going to take our fabric and we're going to place it under the presser foot, then lower it, and then we're just going to start sewing. And there we have our gathers, nicely spaced. And then if you wanted your gathering tighter, if you needed your gathers closer, then what you would do is you will pull out your needle threads. And I'm going to use a straight pin, and I'm going to pull my needle threads. Okay, and then we're just going to pull, and you will just continue to pull the threads and adjust your gatherings to your liking. And there we have it. These are the 2 blind hem feet that come with the Baby Lock Serger kit, and they come in 2 different sizes. There's a 0.5 millimeter foot and a 1 millimeter foot. The 0.5 millimeter foot is to be used with lightweight to medium fabrics, and the 1 millimeter foot is to be used with medium to heavyweight fabrics. There are screws here and at the top of the foot, and that is to adjust this black guide here. And what you would do is use your screwdriver that came with your Vibrant, and you would loosen the screw, and to adjust the width or the distance that the needle hits or is from the fold of the fabric, you would just move it to the left or the right. I'm going to be using a lightweight fabric for this demonstration. Therefore, I'm going to be using the 0.5 millimeter foot. Now, to set your machine for using the blind hem feet, you're going to start with a 3-thread wide stitch. So using your threading guide, you will follow the instructions and go ahead and set your needle tension, your looper tension, and your differential feed all of the settings that you need to take care of. However, you will need to test with a scrap of fabric to determine which settings will work best for your fabric. I played around with the settings for this fabric, and it turns out that I will be using a stitch length of 4. My left needle tension will be at a 1, and we're only using the left needle. I've removed the right needle because we're using a 3-thread stitch. The differential feed I set at a 0.7, and both my loopers are set at a 4. Those are the settings that work for this particular fabric. So make sure that you test your fabric, test the settings for your fabric to get the best stitch. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and place the blind hem foot on the machine. Let's remove this one. I love how easy it is to change these feet out. Okay, now the first thing you're going to need to do is prepare your fabric. You're going to press up your hem allowance, and I've pressed up a 1-inch hem allowance. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your hem and you're going to flip it up so that you have an extension and a fold. Here is your extension and here is your fold. The most important thing is to make sure that the extension is an even distance all the way down, or all the way from the beginning to the end of your hem, because you want to make sure that your hem is even all the way around. So you can either pin in place, you can use your seam gauge to measure the distance from the fold and make sure that it's even all the way down and pin in place, or you can just eyeball it as you go. Now what we're going to do to place this on under the foot is we're going to place the extension under this black guide, and the fold is going to go on top of the black guide. So I'm placing the fabric, and you will see that the edge, the tip of the black guide, is sticking out to the right of the fold. You want to make sure that as you're sewing, that your fold is butted up against this black guide on the right side. That will ensure that your needle will catch the edge of that fabric all the way down. Okay, let's lower the presser foot. And make sure, let's move the guide out. Make sure that you're keeping this fold against that guide. And we're going to go ahead and sew. Once you see the fabric through the window here, keep an eye on that needle to make sure it's catching the fold of the fabric. And take your time. Okay, so here we have it, and we're going to open it. I got my thread tail caught up in the seam, so be careful when you start that your thread tail is out of the way. We're going to open it up, and what you're going to do is pull to flatten out your seam, and you will see the thread ticks, the stitches right along that fold. Now what you notice with mine is that I have different lengths of stitches. So here you see they're longer and they get a little bit shorter here. That happens when your distance is not even as you're sewing down. So as I was sewing, my needle was hitting closer over to the left where the stitches are longer, and then farther out to the right as the stitches got shorter. So what you want to do is make sure that you have an even distance, that your needle is hitting that fold at the same place. Now when you're sewing your blind hem, you're going to be using a thread the same color as your fabric, so the stitches will disappear into the fabric and you won't see. But still, you want to just be very careful that your stitches are even. Then after you're done, you're going to go to your pressing station and you're going to press your seams flat to give this a nice finish. And that's what you get with the blind hem foot. This is the beading foot, and this one is excellent for attaching beads, piping, cording, or any type of decorative edging to your projects. And the way it works is there's a chamber here to the right that you feed your beads through, and then you continue to feed through the bottom of this second chamber at the back of the foot. Then you insert your fabric here in this top chamber, butting it against the guide on the right side, and the foot actually attaches the beads to your fabric for you, and you don't have to do anything. Now, as far as setting up your machine to use this foot, you're going to start with a 3-thread wide stitch, but depending on the type of fabric you're using, the thickness and the size of the beading that you're using, you're going to have to make adjustments. So start with using your instruction guide. Start with the settings for a 3-thread wide stitch, then use a piece of scrap fabric along with the beads that you're using and practice the stitches, making any adjustments necessary until you get the stitch that you desire. Okay, so we're going to attach the foot. Oh, actually first we're going to insert the cording. I'm going to use this gold cording to attach to the edge of the fabric, and I'm going to insert it into the chamber here on the top and feed it through the back under the bottom. So that's what it looks like. And I'm going to pull a little extra so that I can have something to start with. Then I'm going to go ahead and attach the foot. And you will do the same thing with beads. And if you find it too difficult that the beads are moving around too much when you're trying to attach the foot with the beads inserted, then attach the foot first and then insert the beads afterwards. I'm going to insert my fabric and make sure it's butted up against the right guide, and I'm going to insert it until I see the fabric here where the needle starts. Then lower your presser foot, and then you're just going to stitch and allow the foot to do all the work. I'm holding the fabric here and the cord to the right, making sure that the fabric is butted against the guide on the right side. And make sure that you see that the needle is hitting the edge of the fabric as you're sewing. Then when I come to the end, I'm going to cut away the braid because I don't want to have to sew all the way to the end. And then just continue. And here's what it looks like finished. Absolutely beautiful. That's the back. And the Beading Foot does all the work for you, making it so much easier to attach trim to your projects. I can see this working wonderfully with handbags if you want to attach beads to the flap on your bag or trim on your collars. Absolutely wonderful. This is the cording foot, and the cording foot is used to create decorative cording and piping. And who doesn't love to do that for projects? If you look on the bottom of the cording foot, it has this groove that the cording fits into. And a 1/8 inch cording fits perfectly into that groove. So that's the size I'm going to be using for the demonstration today. So let's attach the foot to the machine. Make sure that your needle is in the raised position. Make sure that your threads are free and not under the hook there. And I'm going to take my fabric, which I've already prepared, and I'm going to insert the cording on the inside, and I'm going to press it into the fold and then close it. And we need to make sure as we're sewing that the cording is butted up against this folded edge. Okay, so let me go and make sure all of our cording is inside. And we're going to close it up. And when we insert the fabric and the cording under the foot, we need to make sure that the cording is right at that little mark. You see, that's where the groove starts. There's a mark at the tip of the foot, and that lets you know where to center the cording. And I'm going to pull the cording past the back of the foot a little bit, and I'm going to make sure I'm lining that cording up with that mark, and then I'm going to lower the presser foot, and you will adjust your gauge appropriately. And then we're going to start sewing. Again, oops, I pulled it out. Let's raise that and do it again. Place it right at that marking. And again, making sure that your cording is butted against that fold along the way. You will have to stop during sewing to make sure that it's in place, making any adjustments necessary. Okay, and let's sew. Okay, when I start, I'm going to hold on to the cording at the back of the foot and pull it straight back just to help get it started until the needle pierces the fabric, and then I'll let go. Okay, the needle is onto the fabric. So let's continue sewing, making sure that that cording is staying over to the left at the fold of the fabric. Oops, let's pull it, give it a little bit more leeway. There we go. Adjusting as needed to make sure that that cording stays over to the left. And also making sure that the cording is in that groove. And as I come up on the end, I'm going to go ahead and clip away the cording and just continue sewing down. And here we have our custom piping ready to be inserted into our project. Very easy to create using the cording foot with the Baby Lock Vibrant. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have enjoyed this demonstration of the Baby Lock Serger 6-foot kit for the Vibrant. If you're interested in purchasing one for yourself, then make sure you check the description box below where I have links to the website where you can find a dealer in your area. I've also linked to the website where you can purchase the Vibrant Serger if you don't have one yet. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.